We're Fraser and Penny Barry. We're from Bindi, a property in East Gippsland, Victoria. Bindi has been in the family for over 100 years. We run sheep and cattle, have done for a long while. The dogs have given us a bit of a caning. That was a stage when we thought we might have to get out because of the numbers that we're losing. They just kept on getting worse and worse and worse, and after the 2003 fires it sort of just escalated to a degree where we were losing probably 1,500 sheep a year.
Many sleepless nights. I mean, it was just that we knew we had to change or we were going out the back door fast, and we just had to change our thought processes, how we were going to handle it.
We've got a family farming operation here at Bindi. Yeah, been in this Gippsland region for a fair while, and we've had a fair bit to do with the wild dog issue, trying to run sheep in a mountain subalpine region. So it's been a bit of an issue for us. We as producers are suffering the consequences of that. There's, who knows, there's thousands more wild dogs out there now than there ever was before. We're feeling that now because they're coming in to kill our livestock.
Anything that's impacting on private property, we classify it as a wild dog. So whether it's a hybrid cross between domestic dogs and the dingo, or what some may call the purebred dingo further out, it's irrelevant when it's within the farming area because it needs to be dealt with.
We didn't sleep because I was out trying to find where the dogs were coming in, or shoot a dog in the morning and at night. So it was a constant program, and all you'd ever did
was manage dogs.
Was think about dogs and think about, I've just got to stop these dogs because that's the problem. It meant that we did not look at any other facet of our business.
And it's very hard to get young people to come back into the farming situation again because they see how depressed and how anxious
how the families,
everyone is, how emotionally distraught they are over this issue, and they don't want to borrow that.
No.
It's another deterrent for them to come back into agriculture.
You feel so helpless because you can't do anything about it. You're in the wrong spot when the dog comes in, and you just think, how am I physically going to do any more? I'm doing as much as I can, and all of a sudden you just feel, I can't cope.
The wives are picking all this up, the children feed on it, and so the whole problem is a community problem, and it does need to be shared.
We're very strong on building community engagement as well, so that it's not only what's happening outside the private property boundary, it's also what's happening inside. So really strong to promote the idea of community ownership of wild dogs and what we call a nil tenure process. So look at the wild dogs across the whole landscape, rather than just focusing on what the government's doing up in the hills or what's happening on Fraser's place here or over Simon's just over the hill over here. And to do that, it's really the only way to minimise the impact of wild dogs on these guys.
We had the 2003 fires come through, which just basically nucleared everything, particularly on our crown interface in the bush. So we were forced to start all over again. So we went for the latest technologies, I suppose, latest designs. So we started using concrete and steel and porcelain. We excised land back to the crown that wasn't useful, that we couldn't put a fence on successfully. Put the fence in a very easy to manage and maintain location. And that's become our main backline now. That's the backbone of our whole survival. And with that we sort of trap or poison or shoot where necessary to deal with any issues that arise. The last 3 years we haven't had a dog in that we're aware of, so we think our program's working. If we didn't have that ongoing broader program outside in the Crown land, that pressure on our fence from a larger population outside, I think our fence would probably falter. By us putting that fence up there, it's created that solid barrier, and they've had to find alternate food sources and move elsewhere.
And once you start to take ownership of that problem, you can actually then start to find out ways to handle it. And you can look for help and look for case studies that have happened before, or what other people are doing, and see what you can apply to your situation. There's been a reasonably big change in the process of attacking wild dogs in the last few years. And I think people are really learning that together we can all achieve more. We've been isolated and we've had traditional views of how to handle it. And through the community engagement process that's been developed by Best Wool and say AWI and Caring for Country grants and things like that that have come into the area in the last 5-6 years, I'd say, that we're actually learning other strategies that have worked elsewhere, and that's been a great learning curve. But the thing about that is that not everybody's come on board, and so the communication that Barry and Simon are talking about is really important within these groups, to get the groups together so that we can all learn together.
And you need to be patient. It's not a quick fix situation. It just takes time.
And the community groups are a really important aspect of the whole program as well, because if Fraser's doing his own thing here and Simon's doing his own thing over there and they're not talking to each other, they're bottling up their issues as well. You heard the emotional stuff before, and that's very, very true. But when you start forming a community and you get groups together and you start talking, it's a shared problem. So you then tackle it as a shared problem as well. And fencing is excellent. I mean, it's the Rolls Royce of wild dog control, but it can be quite expensive. So there are many other options that people need to consider as well. So be it baiting, trapping on their own properties, using guardian animals. There's a plethora of things out there that can be done, but as a community, if everybody's involved, it's a shared issue, and you're not just doing something by yourself. If you've got one person trying to control on his own patch and no one's doing anything around him, he just becomes a sink. So he cleans out his own problems, be it foxes, dogs, whatever it happens to be, cleans them out, but there's always new ones coming in. So as a community, everybody doing a bit reduces that impact.
You only have to take the first step and say, well, hang on, there are other communities that are having success. That means I must be able to have success if I sort of look and see what they're doing and then take from them what will adapt to my place.
AWI currently are funding 18 groups throughout Victoria, and it's a great resource other than just the money, but it's bringing that community together again, and it's a coordinated approach as to how they're going to spend that money. If you are having problems with dogs at the moment, strongly encourage you to talk to your local government rep and your other community group members. Who's the champion in the area? Go and have a chat to them and see what you can actually put together and get a group structure happening. We are more than keen to work with those groups. Yeah, I can only encourage it.
Last year we lost no sheep to dogs. This year we had a dog inside the electric fence and we lost 40 until we got rid of that dog. And now, so we actually sleep at night now.
The wild dog issue is a bit like alcoholism. You've got to actually realise you've got a problem before you can actually start to cure it.